everyone here. As an informed consumer, I am well aware of what foods more than likely have GMOs. But most people don't even know what they are, let alone that they are probably in food that they eat every day. I'm also here today as a citizen of the state of New Mexico who votes and who believes that all of us have the right to know what is in our food. Apparently, our government also agrees that we have the right to know what is in our food, and that is why we have labels that tell us how much sugar, how much protein, fats, and things like that are in our foods, as well as the ingredients. And we even now can read on the labels whether or not food's been processed in a facility that has nuts inside that we eat. Why is it that there has been so much difficulty in having our food labels also tell us that the soy, canola, and other ingredients are genetically modified? Polls show that the vast majority of Americans would like their food labeled if there are genetically engineered ingredients. Do the companies that produce GE seed have something to hide? Could it be that they are afraid if the truth comes out about all aspects of GMO seed, people will not buy these products? Why is it that in the European Union and 50 other countries, including Japan, India, and even China, there are mandatory labeling laws for food with GMO ingredients? Isn't America the hallmark for democracy and the free market? What could be more important to a democracy than the right to know what we put in our bodies? The voters in California who had a ballot initiative were told that the costs associated with GMO labeling would increase annual food costs for the average family by $600 a year. Yet, when a company decides to add a new label of natural or associate their product with the latest blockbuster film, there are no increases in costs to consumers. Why is it in the UK, when a study was done on GE labeling price increases, they estimated increases to be less than 1%, 0.17%? Why is it a small dairy in Northern California was able to add this label that they don't have GMOs in their product and not pass on any increase in cost to their customers? And finally, how is it when the U.S. government mandates labeling for ingredients, sugar and fat and these other things, our food costs don't increase? Just as I have the right to choose buying something manufactured in America or overseas, I should have the right to know what went into the food that I put in my body. I'm able to buy organic when it's available, but when I have to step into the waters of commercial food, I want to know if the product has genetically modified ingredients. Why is it, you might ask, when we are told that there's no significant difference between GMO food and non-GMO foods? I believe that the verdict is not yet out on health effects and the impact on farmers and our ecosystem that happen when GE crops are grown is something that I don't want to support. I want to support farmers of America because they are crucial to the survival of our nation, to the survival of us as healthy citizens. When farmers buy GMO seed, they are not allowed to use the seed for future plantings, and as you heard in the beginning, now there's even terminator seeds, which won't grow a second crop. This is totally changing the way farmers have grown food since the beginning of agriculture. This also puts farmers at the mercy of rising seed prices from seed suppliers. Just as one example, from 2002 to 2008, GE soybean seed prices rose 7% annually. By 2009, Roundup Ready soybean seed, which comes from Monsanto, cost twice as much as conventional seed. Over the last decade, companies like Monsanto have also been buying up smaller seed companies, decreasing the availability of non-GMO seed. We need to support our smaller businesses for a healthy economy and a healthy democracy. GMO seeds are patented, and I disagree with the patenting of life, and the seeds that feed us are the basis of all life. This is a very dangerous situation when a handful of corporations control the global seed supply, which translates to controlling the global food supply. And if I can do anything to slow this down with my shopping dollars, I feel that is my responsibility. Shopping for food or any other item I buy is an effective way that I can use my shopping dollars to voice my opinions. Just as I have the choice to buy a t-shirt from a sweatshop or from a company that I know pays fair wages, I should have the right to buy food that support farmers or puts them in the bondage to big agribusiness. I want to support my farmers to not need to use dangerous herbicides that can make them sick and pollute the groundwater. GE seed suppliers have claimed that their seeds require less herbicides. But how can that be the truth when these seeds are developed to withstand the spraying of chemicals that kill all other plant life? If you could kill all the weeds in your garden and just leave what you wanted to grow, you would be tempted to use that product. Monsanto's Roundup Ready contains the chemical glyphosate, and there is much evidence that this is harmful to animals and humans, not to mention what it does to our water supplies. But as a consumer, I have the right to know that the soybeans or canola oil listed as an ingredient came from GE seed, because that also means it probably had excessive herbicide use in growing those crops. Another problem that has arisen from the excessive use of glyphosate is that farmers now have to contend with superweeds. These are weeds that have become tolerant to that chemical, and now they have to look for stronger, more toxic herbicides to take care of those weeds that are growing. Is this the future that we want for our farmers and our food? Monsanto is not the only corporation involved, and that is important to know. As superweeds have developed, other companies are stepping up with their even stronger, more toxic chemicals to use on our food supply. Biotech companies, I just saw it over time, but bear with me. Biotech companies such as Syngenta and Dow Chemical are stepping up their versions of GE seed that are tolerant to these herbicides, but those contain atrazine, which is a known endocrine disruptor, and also 2,4-D, which had been a component of Agent Orange, and this is to be sprayed on our food. I think if you ask any veteran from Vietnam whether or not Agent Orange is safe, they will tell you unequivocally, it's not. I have the right to know that the seeds that grew the food that I eat were sprayed with toxic chemicals. What many people also don't know is that the new generation of GE seeds modify the crop so that the plant itself produces a toxin, and that toxin kills the insect if it tries to nibble on your corn. The bigger issue here, in addition to killing our insects, is that the evidence isn't out yet on how that's affecting us as humans. And I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, a host of illnesses that so many people have today didn't even exist. And it's been shown that when people stop eating GE foods that have a host of different intestinal issues, it clears up really quickly. And the same has been found for cattle that are being fed GE seed that get sick. When they're put on non-GE seeds, they're okay. Okay, now I'm going to jump ahead. If farmers want to grow GMO seed, that's their choice. But consumers need to know what they're putting in their bodies and their families' bodies. When I go to the store and I want to buy chicken or meat, and I ask the butcher, what were they fed? And they tell me corn. I then ask them, but was it GMO corn? And they don't know. And as consumers and as the suppliers, they should be able to tell us what went into that food. Another issue that's come up around GMO, which I find really important, is that farmers are being sued when their crops are contaminated from GMO seed. And as many of you obviously realize, Monsanto has really deep pockets, and most farmers out there don't. So what's happening is farmers, whether it's organic or commercial, their crops are getting polluted by the GE seed when it flies in the wind into their field. And instead of them being compensated by these companies, they're being sued, and many have lost everything. So I just want to end this with a simple request to the state and to our legislators to let us know what's in our food. If there's nothing wrong with GMOs, then what are these companies afraid of? Surely the excuse of higher costs for labeling is not the truth when you look at all the information that's already on our food labels. Please support Senator Wirth, support Senate Bill 18, show up when you can, call your friends, call your neighbors, and tell them to call their representatives. Thank you.